Groton 7, McIndoe 6, 1957.
Oh, neat.
Would you put that on display?
Yeah, we have a lot of things that we need to put on display from school times, 1950s.
And now, I don't know if you'd be interested, but, you know, I found this in his trunk out to West Groton. I've lived his entire life. But his basketball uniform is there.
Oh my gosh.
With a shirt that says Groton Gremlins, and the knee pads, and his suit. Would you want that?
You know, I think we would. Yeah.
I mean, it goes back 70 years.
Yeah, I think we would.
We probably display it upstairs with the other clothing.
Yeah, I think I'd leave it up to Phyllis. You know, Phyllis Burke is our textiles expert. She's very good. I could see that we might have a show, you know, a presentation.
Yeah.
Sometime I'll get out to West Groton and get in the trunk and get it out there.
Where is
I'll
it?
bring it down to you.
It's in.
It's out to West Groton.
Yeah.
In the trunk with my brother's belongings in it, where this uniform was. I'll bring the uniform in, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Got the insignia on the baseball. They work right now.
Wow, that's neat.
What's it say?
It says Groton 7. It says September 26, 1957. Groton 7, McIndoe 6.
My brother picked
What
that.
was so special about that game?
Well, because we won.
Was it a playoff game?
We used to play. Well, maybe it was in September. It could have been a playoff game in September, right?
Yeah, I just don't remember that.
Yeah.
I think that was the game. It might not be. There was one game that my brother picked.
Okay.
He won the game, and I got the winning hit.
Oh, no
And
kidding.
the Colts gave the ball to us.
The Colts. That was the name of the McIndoe's team.
Yeah,
They were the Colts.
Coach of the Groton team, because my brother won the game, and I got the winning hit. He gave us the
What
ball.
was the name of the McIndoe's team? The Colts? No, they were the McIndoe's. What? No, it wasn't the Colts.
It wasn't the McIndoe's.
It was the McIndoe's team.
But another team named the Colts is the one that this ball came from.
There was no Colts involved, was there? You said coach, not Colts.
Oh, coach. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, the
Coach gave you the.
Paul Henry was the coach at that
Oh,
time.
Paul, we got pictures of him.
And he gave the ball to my brother because he was the pitcher and won the game.
Okay, gotcha.
And I got the winning hit. I'm not sure if it was that game.
I gotcha.
So I've got to be real honest.
Let me look at one thing. Yeah.
Tell me your brother's full name.
Lauren.
Lauren, I got information right here.
Okay, great.
Look, you want that?
Yeah.
Hair cut this way.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. You got to cut whichever way he wanted to cut it. Right, Lawrence?
And you know what George Dimmick said about Henry's Diner?
No.
He said Henry's Diner was the only restaurant that he knew of that closed at mealtime. You know George Dimmick?
Oh, yeah, no, I remember him well.
And listen to this. George Dimmick said Henry's Diner was the only restaurant he knew of where the help went home for dinner. I think it's just a joke.
He was quite a George Dimmick, wasn't he?
You've got to,
You know, you walk in and you thought he was just a sour old guy, but he had a heart of gold.
I was working in the granite quarry, and sometimes I stopped and had a chat with him. You know, one of the one times, actually chat with him. He said, "Who do you think I am, a bank?" He put it on his wallet and it was that thick. He always carried a big wad of money.
He lived in that apartment of Dolores, above Dolores Hamlet.
Yeah,
And he had one of the first TVs in Groton, and he invited all of us kids to go up there and sit down and watch Howdy Doody. Isn't that something?
Yeah, that's cool.
Howdy Doody.
And what did he say when you came to get your hair cut? He would always
You
say,
always come at the wrong time.
Yeah.
quite the character, your dad. There's a lot of people who have fond memories.
Well, you know,
I like the story, of course, where he was cutting Clevie hoods. You heard this story.
Go ahead.
Well, he was cutting Clevie hoods. Clevie Hood had grew a beard in a week's time. And he worked, of course, for the Bobbin mill, but he'd come down for a haircut and a shave every Saturday night. And so he was in the barber chair and he'd had his haircut. And he was halfway through the shave and the boys came in. And they said, "Henry, we're going to Woodsville." Of course, they were going down to have a drink. And Dad said, "Well, we gotta wait. I gotta finish shaving Clevie." And they said, "If you want to go with us, we're going now." He looks at the boys, he looks at Clevie, looks at the boys, he looks at Clevie. He hands Clevie the razor and says, "You finish up, lock the door on the way out. Haircut's on me."
You know that Clevie Hood's great-grandson does the news on TV?
Oh, I didn't know
Tyler
that.
Jabrowski?
Oh, he's.
didn't know that.
I think I've seen
Wallace
him.
Hood's grandson.
Wallace Hood's son.
Grandson. And so Clevie was
Is Wallace alive?
No, he passed away.
Just recently then?
Yeah, maybe a year ago.
Yeah. I drive by his house over there in Cabot, and I kept looking for his old scout's gone.
I did notice his obituary in the World paper, so I cut it out if you wanted to see it sometime.
I might want to see it. He must have been 94, 95, because he was 92 and still cutting wood.
I used to see him at funerals a lot.
You used to see him where?
I used to see Clevie at funerals.
Yeah.
And you go, we always do,
Clevie or Wallace? Clevie or Wallace? Clevie or Wallace?
Wallace.
You see Wallace.
Wallace, yeah.
Yeah.
Clevie, he worked in the Bobbins mill. His wife's name was Ida.
Ida listened in on the party line.
Oh.
She was famous for listening in on the party line.
Yeah.
And so if you ever wanted to know anything, you had to go to see Ida Hood. She'd tell you what was going
Oh,
on.
she knew everything about what was
He had the
going on.
reputation for being a neat housekeeper.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
was spotless.
she was.
Bobbins and sold rough bobbins to people that finished them off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In the 1940s,
50s.
you were working at the mill and the bobbin mill.
And he needed some help to load a truck one day. So
Oh.
my brother and I went up and we loaded a tractor trailer.
Full of it. And so that was 1950 something,
That
maybe.
probably would have been in the 50s, yeah.
Yeah,
I wonder what the bobbins were for in the 1950s.
they were from
For looms?
They were I don't know what they used them for.
Right,
But they were selling them to somebody that needed to make things like this.
right.
And they were always made out of probably maple or birch.
Uh-huh.
And then the seconds they used to sell to people here in town to use for firewood.
Firewood, yeah. Huh.
Here's a picture of Clevie Hood. And that's a young-looking picture of Clevie Hood.
Where'd you get these?
He didn't have far to go to work. He just walked
They're
around,
right
across the
here.
road to the bobbin mill there.
Oh, yeah.
And here are pictures of Here's pictures of Lester Freer, Henry Groton, Ralph Foster, Kevin Carpenter, and Lee Blanchard.
Some of those I don't know.
Well, that's because they were before. They were really before our time.
Would that have been Henry?
I'll tell you in a minute. No, he's too tall. This is Henry right here. That's Dad right there.
Yeah, that one right there.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's the one I meant to point to.
yeah.
Because I know, yeah, I just guessed that, but that is Henry right there.
Yeah.
Henry, yeah.
And this picture's taken in front of the Methodist Church, right across the street from, what's the guy that just bought the house up here that comes to the Historical Society across from the church? Pierce.
Oh, Dave Pierce. Dot,
This is Dave Pierce's house.
Dot Main's old house.
That's the honor, that's the, what would they call it, the honor's house? That's the apartment house there.
That's getting fixed up now.
Yeah.
That was the honors.
Yeah, always, all my life, I've always known that, the honors.
Why? I wonder what the name came from.
I don't know, but I know that, I'll tell you who lived, I think Dr. Gordon Page lived there at one point,
Oh, really?
maybe. And here's the day that they decided, that the town decided to burn down the old schoolhouse.
Wow. Where they have the fire station now.
Yeah.
You know, I think, I'm not sure, I think on my brother's own home mortgage, when I was watching them one time, I came across the clip of them building the school.
No kidding.
If I ever can find that,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. That would. You're on Facebook?
We got a lot of old home movies going. You know, we got-
Oh, wow. I have an old projector.
And if I can find that,
Yeah, that'd be great.
I want to get it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Sonny Pierce's pickup was right up on the steps of the school. Remember Sonny Pierce? I think he probably backed it off before it got burned
But
up.
got burnt.
The flames were coming right out the window.
Wow. Wow. That must have been emotionally very hard on everybody to see that building where everybody went to school burned
I
down.
can remember sitting in Groton School when the community building was being built.
Uh-huh.
And Clevie Hood's son, Wallace, that we just been talking about,
Yeah.
he was working on the community building. He was up on the roof and he threw nails and hit the windows of the schoolhouse. That was probably 1949 or 1950.
Oh, that was a long time before they burnt it down. That's what he was doing. Oh my
And I
gosh.
think that's when they built the community building, 1949.
Uh-huh. For the gym and all the other stuff, right?
I don't know if you see any figures on that, but I think it was 1949 or 1950.
Okay.
You know that guy?
Boy, I should know that guy, but
His name is Joe Mida. He taught at Groton High School in 54 and 55.
Mida.
Meda, what was it?
Is that right?
Yeah?
Yes. We had him. I went to school to him. And he'd carry a dictionary right to school. Make fun of it. Wicked spot.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
What was his name? Was he Bertie?
But no, he's not Benny.
Did he live up in the?
Joe Meda?
Yeah.
Was he the guy who lived in the big house over here for a while? No.
That was McCabe.
Okay.
That was McCabe that lived there.
The kids really made fun of him, right? Who told me about him? I can't remember.
Well, you know, we were young and foolish back in those days. One
Yeah.
time at Halloween, a bunch of us got together.
Yeah.
And we ran up to his house and was making noises and harassing him. He come running after us. And we run down across the road and went right over by the brown store here.
Okay. Right.
It's
Yeah.
closed now.
Yeah.
And we went right close to the wall.
Uh-huh.
And we knew it was there. We come to the wall and then went this way. And he come down and he went right down over the wall.
Oh, jeez.
He knew who we were. The next day, we all got caught into it. Boy, did we get...
Somebody told me that Harold Puffer hid his hat. He had some kind of a funny hat. Did he wear a funny hat?
Harold Puffer?
No, that teacher.
Oh. Okay. That
Yeah,
I
don't remember that,
but
right.
I know McCabe lived right there.
Okay, so it was him. Yeah.
He chased us right down across the road, and we run right along that wall.
Yeah.
And
And
we knew it was there. And he went straight and went right down over.
oh my God.
We were young and foolish.
Young and foolish. And you got caught. How'd you get punished?
And I think he asked Wendell, what do you think of yourself? And Wendell said, I think I'm a dirty little skunk. He said that on one occasion for something, I think it might have.
That's a good one.
One time from Bridgeport, Alabama, and I've got the letter I could show you,
Yeah.
in 1800 and something.
Right, 60 something.
And he said to his wife, he says, the women down here are so homely it would cause a horse to break his bridle.
Oh,
We
gee.
figured maybe they were good looking and he didn't want to.
What was his name again?
Jeremiah Emmery.
Emmery. Oh, okay. Okay.
And another time he wrote to his wife Drusilla, and he said, I want you to stay fat until I get home.
You have 300 of his letters?
Something, I think it is.
Oh my goodness.
I've got a letter when William Scott,
When he was,
a letter when he wrote back, he said, we heard that Abe Lincoln has been shot.
oh,
And it was at the time that he was shot. But then we've got a Civil War letter when some of the boys from Groton wrote back when William Scott, he was helping a person across the brook.
right,
And he had a person on his shoulders. He was fired 5 shots.
right.
And when he was dying, he thanked President Lincoln.
For pardoning
He didn't die
by firing squad. Right.
He died in an honorable way.
Right. And it was very early in the war that he died. Yeah. That's really amazing. Anything you want to share with us? We'd love to see. People are so interested in the Civil War.
Walter Glover.
Waldo, yeah.
I've got a letter that Walter Glover wrote to my grandmother.
Okay.
I told you.
Oh, right, because she took care of.
His mother.
Right.
And when Walter Glover's mother died, Walter Glover was down in Massachusetts, and he was sick. He wasn't able to come to his mother's funeral.
Oh, right.
He wrote a very nice letter to my grandmother, Sophronia Daniels.
Uh-huh.
And thanked her for the good care.
Oh, that's nice. Where did she die? Did she die at your house or at your...
You know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think she was at my grandmother's house when she died,
But not positive, yeah.
Yes.
Whether she went to my house, you know, or they brought Waldo's mother, who I think was Nan. I think her name was Nan. Was that right? Otis and Esther, Henry and, yeah, well, I'll have to
because
look
I've
it
got
up.
a picture of my grandmother in Warner Brothers standing outside.
Oh, you do?
That would be a good
I would love to see that. I'm writing a book about my house, and I have a lot of deeds and, you know, pictures, and I was friends with Helen Glover, Waldo's daughter. So she gave me a lot of stories and things like that. So anything to go with that, I'd love to see it. I don't need to have it, but, you know, take a picture would be great.
Hey, I've got rationing coupons from World War II.
You have what?
When World War II was going on,
Yeah.
4 families got coupons, rationing
Oh,
coupons.
rationing coupons. Ah, right.
That goes with my name on it.
That's neat. Well, we have a very small display about World War II over here. And we have some uniforms in a trunk downstairs. That's another thing we'd like to do someday. There's so many great things you can do. But yeah.
Yeah. Property up West Groton borders their property. I don't know if you know where that one place is.
No.
Some area lives.
No, I don't.
The road that says Daniels Road.
Which road?
Daniels Road.
Oh, okay, right.
It goes off from 302 and then goes back on.
Oh, okay.
That's home place. And I came across the deed where my grandfather bought that place in 1926.
Huh.
Next year it'll be 100 years old. It's been in the family 100 years.
Oh, my goodness.
And I've got a letter that 1925, they moved there in 1925.
Uh-huh.
And they bought it, got the deed in 1926.
In 1926.
100
Neat.
years old.
Who is that?
The home place out in West Groton. My grandfather bought it in 1926.
Is that where Larry lives now?
We came across the deed.
Wow.
Well, 100 years, been in the family 100 years.
That's
Now, when you were living there, when you were younger, could you look right across over to Ralph Evans?
You could see the roof a little bit, the metal roof.
Of Ralph Evans' house?
It's about a mile, I think, right straight through there.
And he kind of, I mean, when you drive out the road, he kind of sits in a little hollow, but he wasn't high up on the hill. He was about 3/4 of the way up, right? You've been up that road lately?
No, not really, but I've been up there a lot over the years,
Yeah.
over Ralph Evans.
Yeah,
But I know you can look through and see the metal on the roof.
from your house.
And I was told that the metal door to
that what?
walk through the wood.
We're talking, I'll give you a description first.
It's so noisy with the cars. I keep.
When you're down by the cemetery looking back up, there's a big hill that's been cleared off over that way.
Uh-huh.
And that we're talking about, and the place he's talking about, where he lived, is out past, just past the William Scott Memorial.
Oh.
So he's looking from the back side of that hill.
Uh-huh.
When you get to the place by going up the Powder Springs Road,
Okay.
and turning right at the schoolhouse. On the Annis Road.
On the Annis Road, right. Huh, I've never been down the
Right at
Annis
the end of
Road.
the road, right at the end of the end.
It's at the end of the road. There's a house out on the hill on the right.
But maybe they've got a house after that, but Evans used to be the last house.
Last house, yes. I think
Maybe they built beyond that there.
I think there has one been built beyond there now.
Now, isn't that Button Mountain?
Butson's, no, that's, Butson's over beyond there.
Button.
Next one over beyond. If you were at your house in West Groton and you're looking at Ralph Evans, it's that big mountain to the right.
That's Butson's,
That's
man?
Button.
That's Butson, the big one to the right. And then Fuller Hill's to the right of that.
What is it?
Fuller Hill.
Fuller Hill, okay.
And you get there, you can get to either one of them on the backside by going out past where Sally and Mike Blair lived. And you keep going out that road, and that's the Fuller Hill Road. But you get the other way you can get there is by going up Powder Springs Road. And just after you get the Thompson line, before you got to Rickers, what was it again?
Rupert Rickers.
Rupert Rickers. Before you got to Rupert Rickers, you went out to Keenan Pond. The road went right into Hudson Mountain that way.
That's the place that burned down Rupert Ricketts' house here a few years ago.
Oh, is that right?
But when you come into town
From which way?
from Reigate, going toward Groton,
Yeah.
before you get into town or right after, just before, you can see 3 or 4 mountains.
Yes.
Now one of them is it Butterfield?
Well, one of them is Signal Mountain.
Signal Mountain.
That's the one left of, the Signal Mountain's the one left of, what's the big one, the peak on it, with the tower on it? You know, just Spruce Mountain.
Spruce Mountain.
And Spruce Mountain you can see,
Can you see Spruce Mountain?
you
there?
can see Spruce Mountain from down by Bill Cassidy's.
Oh, okay. You can see Spruce Mountain.
Yeah, and then to the left of that is Signal Mountain. And then to one of those mountains is Groton. A friend of mine used to call it Crown Hill, but I think that's Butterfield Mountain.
Good, I'm going to write that down because I said to my wife, I lived in Groton almost 87 years and I don't even know the names of those mountains.
Yeah. They're hard to remember. It's hard to remember.
200 years ago, there was a blockhouse on Signal Mountain. A blockhouse.
Oh, Block.
And that's where, from what I've read in Mr. Glover's Groton, that's where they used to signal if there were Indians coming or people coming through.
Now, where the one at the tower is? That's Spruce?
That's Spruce.
Okay, you can see Spruce Mountain, right?
That's Big Spruce.
Okay. Big Spruce.
And that's in the town of Plainfield.
Okay. And then the next one is,
And to the left of there is Signal Mountain, and it's back this way. But if you were at Sion Pond, and you would be looking at 11 o'clock, it'd be right there. 10 or 11. No, I'm sorry. If you're looking at 10 or 11 o'clock, it would be right there.
From where?
From Sion.
from Sion?
Yeah,
From Sion?
there's a trail from Sion that walks right up on the Signal.
Okay. All right, and then what? Spruce, Signal, and then Butterfield?
Well, I think so. I'd have to look at do we have a topo map here?